Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that impacts millions worldwide: dementia. It's a condition that steals memory, cognition, and ultimately quality of life. But what's even more alarming is the growing evidence suggesting that many of us are unknowingly increasing our risk of developing dementia in the future. Now, I want to be very clear: dementia doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, often starting in the brain decades before symptoms manifest. But what if I told you that one specific habit, one simple action that we take regularly, could significantly increase our chances of developing this devastating disease? Let me introduce the concept of neurodegeneration, which is the process by which brain cells, the neurons that govern everything from movement to thought, begin to break down. Neurodegeneration is often at the core of conditions like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Now here's the critical question: what accelerates this process? The culprit: chronic lifestyle factors. Sleep is a fundamental aspect of brain health, and its importance cannot be overstated when it comes to preventing cognitive decline and protecting against dementia. During sleep, the brain undergoes critical processes that are vital for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and overall cognitive function. One of the most important aspects of sleep is the deep sleep phase, often referred to as slow-wave sleep, SWS. This phase is where the brain engages in its most intensive restorative activities. It is during deep sleep that the brain clears out waste products, including harmful proteins such as beta amyloid. These proteins, when accumulated over time, form plaques in the brain, a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. Without sufficient deep sleep, the brain becomes less efficient at removing these waste products, which can increase the risk of neurodegeneration and cognitive decline in the long run. The connection between sleep and brain detoxification is part of a larger system known as the glymphatic system. This system acts like a waste removal network in the brain, functioning most effectively during sleep. Research has shown that the brain cells shrink during sleep, allowing the cerebrospinal fluid to flow more freely through the brain tissue, removing toxins and metabolic byproducts that accumulate during waking hours. This process is essential for maintaining neural health and preventing the buildup of harmful substances that contribute to neurodegenerative diseases. If sleep is consistently disrupted or inadequate, the glymphatic system is less effective, leading to the accumulation of these toxins and increasing the likelihood of cognitive impairments. Beyond the physical process of detoxification, sleep is also essential for memory consolidation. During different stages of sleep, the brain replays and strengthens the memories formed throughout the day. This process is particularly important for learning and retaining new information. Inadequate sleep, especially when it leads to sleep fragmentation, can impair the brain's ability to consolidate memories, making it more difficult to retain knowledge and perform cognitive tasks. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation or poor quality sleep can lead to difficulties in memory recall and cognitive processing, setting the stage for early signs of dementia. Sleep also plays a significant role in emotional regulation and mental health. Studies have shown that poor sleep is linked to increased levels of stress hormones, which can negatively impact the brain's ability to regulate emotions and cope with challenges. Prolonged sleep deprivation can lead to heightened levels of anxiety and depression, both of which are risk factors for cognitive decline and dementia. Sleep disorders such as insomnia or sleep apnea have been linked to an increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia, as the lack of restorative sleep exacerbates the negative effects on brain function. Furthermore, sleep is crucial for maintaining overall brain plasticity. The brain's ability to adapt and reorganize itself, known as neuroplasticity, is largely influenced by sleep. During sleep, the brain strengthens neural connections that are vital for cognitive flexibility, learning, and problem solving. Inadequate sleep can impair this process, making it harder for the brain to adapt to new information and challenges. Over time, reduced neuroplasticity can contribute to cognitive decline and an increased risk of neurodegenerative conditions. Finally, the amount of sleep needed for optimal brain health varies across individuals, but most adults require between 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Quality is just as important as quantity. Even if someone spends enough time in bed, fragmented sleep or poor sleep hygiene can prevent them from reaching the deep restorative stages of sleep. Inadequate sleep can lead to cognitive impairments, making it essential to prioritize good sleep habits to ensure the brain receives the full benefits of restorative sleep. Chronic stress is one of the most significant and insidious factors contributing to cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases like dementia. While stress is a natural and necessary response to challenges, the problem arises when it becomes prolonged or chronic. When we experience stress, the body releases a cascade of hormones, primarily cortisol, which helps us respond to immediate threats by activating the fight or flight response. This acute stress response is helpful in short bursts, as it prepares the body to take action. However, when stress becomes chronic, cortisol levels remain elevated, and this has profound effects on brain function, especially in areas critical for memory, emotional regulation, and cognitive processing. The hippocampus, a brain region essential for forming and retrieving memories, is particularly vulnerable to chronic stress. High levels of cortisol over extended periods can shrink the hippocampus, reducing its size and impairing its ability to function effectively. This means that the brain becomes less capable of consolidating new memories and retrieving older ones, which can lead to difficulties with learning and remembering information. Over time, this hippocampal damage can contribute to the development of memory-related disorders, including Alzheimer's disease, which is characterized by progressive memory loss. Chronic stress can also disrupt the connections between neurons, further exacerbating cognitive decline. Moreover, prolonged exposure to stress negatively affects the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for decision-making, attention, and emotional regulation. High cortisol levels can impair the prefrontal cortex's ability to function optimally, leading to issues with concentration, problem-solving, and managing emotions. As stress wears on, it becomes more challenging to focus, regulate impulses, and maintain a sense of emotional balance. These effects are particularly concerning because the prefrontal cortex is essential for many higher-order cognitive functions that we rely on in our daily lives, from planning and organizing to regulating our mood and interacting socially. Stress also has a significant impact on the brain's ability to form new neural connections. The process of neuroplasticity, which allows the brain to adapt to new experiences and challenges, is hindered by chronic stress. When cortisol levels are consistently high, the brain's capacity to reorganize and form new pathways is diminished, making it harder to learn and adapt to new situations. This decline in neuroplasticity not only contributes to cognitive impairments, but also makes it more difficult to recover from cognitive stressors, further accelerating the decline in brain function. In addition to the direct impact on the brain, chronic stress can also lead to unhealthy lifestyle choices that further contribute to cognitive decline. For example, individuals who are under chronic stress may be more likely to engage in poor eating habits, neglect physical exercise, or experience sleep disturbances, all of which exacerbate the negative effects of stress on the brain. Moreover, stress can lead to inflammation throughout the body, including the brain, which has been linked to the development of neurodegenerative diseases. Inflammation is a natural immune response, but when it becomes chronic, it can damage brain cells and accelerate cognitive decline. It's also important to recognize that the effects of stress are cumulative. While acute stress is a normal part of life, chronic stress over weeks, months, or even years can create a toxic environment for the brain. This toxic environment, marked by sustained high cortisol levels and chronic inflammation, creates a situation where the brain is more susceptible to neurodegenerative conditions. The longer someone is exposed to chronic stress, the more pronounced the impact on their cognitive health becomes. This is why managing stress is critical, not just for immediate well-being, but for long-term brain health. A brain-healthy diet plays a crucial role in protecting against cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases like dementia. The foods we consume directly affect the structure and function of our brain, influencing everything from memory to mood regulation. A diet rich in anti-inflammatory foods, antioxidants, and essential nutrients supports the brain's ability to repair itself, combat oxidative stress, and maintain cognitive function over time. Conversely, a poor diet, particularly one high in processed foods, sugars, and unhealthy fats, can increase the risk of inflammation and oxidative damage, accelerating the process of neurodegeneration. Inflammation is a major contributing factor to brain aging and cognitive decline. Chronic inflammation can damage brain cells and interfere with normal neural function, contributing to diseases like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. The brain, being highly sensitive to changes in the body's inflammatory response, is particularly vulnerable to the effects of a diet high in refined sugars, trans fats, and processed foods. These foods can trigger the release of inflammatory molecules that harm brain tissue, impair cognitive function, and promote the formation of amyloid plaques, which are associated with Alzheimer's disease. To combat this inflammation, it's essential to incorporate foods that have anti-inflammatory properties. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, flax seeds, and walnuts, are particularly beneficial for brain health. Omega-3 fatty acids play a crucial role in maintaining the structural integrity of brain cells and promoting the formation of new neurons. They also help regulate inflammation in the brain and improve communication between brain cells, supporting overall cognitive function. Antioxidants are another key component of a brain-healthy diet. These compounds, found in abundance in fruits and vegetables, protect the brain from oxidative stress, a condition in which harmful molecules known as free radicals damage brain cells. The brain is particularly susceptible to oxidative damage due to its high metabolic activity and high fat content, which makes it more prone to free radical damage. Antioxidants, such as those found in berries, blueberries, strawberries, leafy greens, spinach, kale, and cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, help neutralize these free radicals, reducing oxidative damage and protecting the brain from premature aging. In addition to omega-3s and antioxidants, certain vitamins and minerals play a critical role in maintaining brain health. For example, B vitamins, including B12, B6, and folate, are essential for the proper functioning of the nervous system. These vitamins help in the production of neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that transmit signals between brain cells. Deficiencies in B vitamins have been linked to cognitive decline and mood disorders, making it important to ensure adequate intake of these nutrients through foods such as eggs, leafy greens, and fortified cereals. Vitamin D, another crucial nutrient for brain health, is involved in regulating immune function and protecting brain cells from damage. Research has shown that vitamin D deficiency is associated with an increased risk of cognitive decline and dementia. Additionally, the inclusion of polyphenol-rich foods, such as dark chocolate, green tea, and nuts, can enhance brain health. Polyphenols are plant compounds that have been shown to support brain function by improving blood flow to the brain, enhancing memory, and protecting against age-related decline. They also contribute to the reduction of inflammation and oxidative stress, making them a valuable addition to a brain-healthy diet. On the other hand, diets high in processed sugars and refined carbohydrates can have a detrimental effect on brain health. These foods cause blood sugar spikes and subsequent crashes, leading to fluctuations in energy levels, poor concentration, and even mood swings. Over time, frequent consumption of sugary and processed foods can lead to insulin resistance, which is not only linked to diabetes, but also to cognitive decline. Insulin resistance can impair the brain's ability to utilize glucose for energy, which is essential for maintaining proper brain function. A diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods, including vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats, is crucial for preserving brain function and reducing the risk of cognitive decline. By making smarter dietary choices and prioritizing brain-boosting nutrients, we can take proactive steps to protect our brains and promote long-term cognitive health. Regular physical exercise is one of the most effective and accessible ways to promote brain health and protect against cognitive decline. Engaging in physical activity has a profound impact on the brain, influencing everything from memory and learning to mood and stress regulation. The benefits of exercise extend far beyond physical fitness. They have the power to enhance cognitive function, stimulate the growth of new brain cells, and protect against age-related neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. One of the key mechanisms through which exercise supports brain health is by promoting neurogenesis, the process by which new neurons are created in the brain. Neurogenesis is particularly active in the hippocampus, a brain region responsible for memory formation and spatial navigation. Regular physical exercise, especially aerobic activities such as running, cycling, swimming, and even brisk walking, has been shown to increase the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor (BDNF), a protein that plays a crucial role in the growth and survival of new neurons. BDNF not only supports the formation of new brain cells, but also enhances the brain's ability to make new connections between neurons, a process known as synaptic plasticity. This is vital for maintaining cognitive function, improving learning, and adapting to new information. In addition to promoting neurogenesis, exercise has a positive impact on brain blood flow. Physical activity increases blood circulation throughout the body, including to the brain, ensuring that the brain receives an adequate supply of oxygen and nutrients. Enhanced blood flow supports brain function by improving the delivery of essential nutrients and removing metabolic waste products. This increased circulation also helps maintain the health of the blood-brain barrier, which is responsible for regulating the flow of substances into the brain and protecting it from harmful toxins. Exercise also has a profound effect on mental health, which is closely tied to cognitive function. Physical activity has been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety, depression, and stress, all of which are risk factors for cognitive decline. When we engage in physical exercise, our bodies release endorphins, which are natural chemicals that promote feelings of well-being and happiness. Regular exercise also lowers levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, which when elevated over long periods can have a detrimental effect on brain function. By reducing stress and improving mood, exercise helps protect the brain from the harmful effects of chronic stress, which is known to impair memory and contribute to the development of neurodegenerative diseases. The positive effects of exercise on the brain are not limited to young or middle-aged individuals. In fact, regular physical activity becomes even more important as we age. Studies have shown that older adults who engage in regular physical activity experience slower cognitive decline and are less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease or other forms of dementia. In particular, exercise has been shown to help preserve the volume of the hippocampus, which naturally shrinks with age. By maintaining the health and size of the hippocampus, exercise helps protect against age-related memory loss and cognitive impairment. Exercise also has a role in regulating insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for brain health. Insulin resistance, which is often associated with obesity and metabolic dysfunction, has been linked to cognitive decline and an increased risk of dementia. Regular physical activity helps improve insulin sensitivity, allowing the brain to better utilize glucose for energy. This is important because the brain is highly dependent on glucose for proper function, and impaired glucose metabolism can lead to cognitive dysfunction. Finally, regular physical activity is associated with improved sleep quality, another key factor in maintaining brain health. As discussed earlier, sleep is essential for memory consolidation, brain detoxification, and overall cognitive function. Exercise helps regulate the sleep-wake cycle, promoting deeper and more restorative sleep. Inadequate sleep, particularly if it becomes chronic, can accelerate cognitive decline and increase the risk of dementia. By improving sleep quality, exercise indirectly supports brain health by ensuring that the brain has the opportunity to repair and rejuvenate during rest. The impact of excessive sugar and processed food consumption on brain health is profound and concerning. While many people are aware of the negative effects of a poor diet on physical health, fewer realize how significantly it can influence cognitive function and increase the risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other forms of dementia. When we consume foods high in refined sugars and processed ingredients, we are not only compromising our physical well-being, but also setting the stage for long-term cognitive decline. Refined sugars, commonly found in sodas, candies, baked goods, and processed snacks, lead to sharp spikes in blood glucose levels. These rapid fluctuations in blood sugar cause the body to release insulin, a hormone that helps regulate glucose levels. Over time, if a person consumes too much sugar, the body becomes less responsive to insulin, a condition known as insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a hallmark of metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes, but it also has significant implications for brain health. The brain is particularly sensitive to insulin as it relies on this hormone to effectively transport glucose, its primary energy source, across the blood-brain barrier. When insulin resistance develops, the brain's ability to use glucose becomes impaired, leading to cognitive dysfunction, memory problems, and a general decline in brain function. Moreover, insulin resistance has been shown to increase the production of amyloid plaques in the brain. Amyloid plaques are sticky clumps of protein that accumulate between brain cells, and their buildup is a key feature of Alzheimer's disease. Studies suggest that the insulin-resistant brain is more susceptible to the formation of these plaques, which can impair communication between neurons and disrupt overall brain function. This is a clear link between metabolic dysfunction, poor dietary habits, and the development of neurodegenerative diseases. In addition to impairing insulin function, a diet high in processed foods and sugars can lead to chronic inflammation in the body and brain. Inflammatory processes are natural responses to injury or infection, but when they become chronic, they can damage tissues and contribute to a range of diseases, including those affecting the brain. Processed foods, which are often rich in unhealthy fats, artificial additives, and refined carbohydrates, have been shown to promote the production of inflammatory molecules called cytokines. These cytokines can cross the blood-brain barrier and trigger inflammation within the brain itself. Chronic brain inflammation is associated with a variety of cognitive impairments, including difficulties with memory, attention, and problem-solving. Over time, persistent inflammation can accelerate neurodegeneration and increase the risk of developing conditions like Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. Additionally, a diet high in sugar and processed foods has been shown to alter the gut microbiome, the community of bacteria and other microorganisms living in the digestive system. Recent research has uncovered a strong link between the gut microbiome and brain health, often referred to as the gut-brain axis. The foods we eat directly influence the composition of the gut microbiome, and an imbalance in gut bacteria can lead to disruptions in brain function. Diets rich in processed foods and sugars tend to promote the growth of harmful bacteria and reduce the diversity of beneficial microbes. This imbalance can lead to an increase in gut permeability, often referred to as leaky gut, which allows toxins and inflammatory molecules to enter the bloodstream and ultimately the brain. Once these substances reach the brain, they can promote inflammation and contribute to cognitive decline. Another critical issue with a diet high in sugar and processed foods is its effect on oxidative stress. The brain, with its high metabolic rate, is particularly vulnerable to oxidative damage caused by free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules that can damage cells, proteins, and DNA, accelerating the aging process. Antioxidants, found in fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole foods, help neutralize free radicals and protect the brain from this oxidative stress. However, diets rich in processed foods and sugars often lack the necessary antioxidants, leaving the brain vulnerable to cellular damage. Over time, this oxidative stress contributes to the aging of brain cells and increases the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. The combination of insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and an altered gut microbiome creates a perfect storm for brain health decline. Consuming a diet rich in sugar and processed foods does not just affect physical health in the short term, it sets the stage for long-term cognitive impairment and increases the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and other neurodegenerative conditions. By shifting to a healthier, more balanced diet that prioritizes whole, unprocessed foods, we can reduce inflammation, improve brain function, and lower the risk of cognitive decline as we age. Mindfulness practices have gained significant attention in recent years for their positive effects on mental and physical health, and this includes their potential benefits for brain health and cognitive function. Mindfulness refers to the practice of being fully present and engaged in the current moment without judgment. This can involve simple activities such as paying attention to one's breath, focusing on sensory experiences, or practicing mindful movement like yoga. Over time, mindfulness can help individuals develop greater awareness and control over their thoughts, emotions, and reactions. But beyond emotional well-being, research has increasingly demonstrated that mindfulness practices can have a profound impact on brain health, particularly in terms of improving cognitive function, reducing stress, and protecting against neurodegenerative diseases. One of the most significant ways mindfulness impacts the brain is by reducing stress. Chronic stress is known to have a detrimental effect on brain function, particularly on areas such as the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory and learning. Prolonged exposure to high levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, can lead to the shrinking of the hippocampus and the impairment of cognitive abilities. Mindfulness helps counteract this by promoting relaxation and activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's rest and digest response. By regularly practicing mindfulness, individuals can lower their cortisol levels and reduce the physiological effects of stress, creating a more supportive environment for brain health. Mindfulness also enhances brain plasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize itself in response to new experiences. Neuroplasticity is crucial for learning, memory, and recovery from brain injuries. Mindfulness practices have been shown to increase the thickness of the prefrontal cortex, a region of the brain associated with executive functions such as decision-making, attention, and emotional regulation. By strengthening the prefrontal cortex, mindfulness helps improve an individual's ability to focus, plan, and regulate emotions, all of which are essential for cognitive health. Additionally, mindfulness has been linked to increased connectivity between different regions of the brain, which may improve communication between neurons and enhance overall cognitive function. Another critical effect of mindfulness is its role in enhancing emotional regulation. One of the key aspects of mindfulness is learning to observe thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them or reacting impulsively. This can help individuals develop a greater sense of control over their emotional responses, reducing the negative impact of stress and emotional turmoil on the brain. Chronic negative emotions, such as anxiety, depression, and anger, have been shown to increase the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. By cultivating a mindful awareness of one's emotions, individuals can reduce the long-term impact of these negative states on their brain health. In terms of brain health, mindfulness may also play a role in the prevention of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. Research has suggested that mindfulness can reduce markers of inflammation in the brain, which is believed to be a contributing factor to the development of Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative conditions. Inflammation in the brain is often caused by oxidative stress and the accumulation of harmful proteins, which can lead to the formation of plaques and tangles associated with Alzheimer's disease. By lowering inflammation and improving the brain's ability to cope with stress, mindfulness may help slow the progression of these diseases and protect against the cognitive decline they cause. Furthermore, mindfulness has been shown to improve attention and memory, which are critical components of cognitive function. Mindfulness practices help individuals strengthen their attention span by training the brain to focus on a single task or sensation without becoming easily distracted by external stimuli or internal thoughts. This improved attention control can translate into better memory recall and an enhanced ability to retain and process new information. Memory is especially sensitive to aging, and maintaining strong attention and focus is essential for long-term cognitive health. Lastly, mindfulness may have a positive impact on sleep quality, which is closely tied to brain function. Sleep is crucial for memory consolidation and overall brain health, but chronic stress and anxiety often interfere with the ability to sleep soundly. By reducing stress and promoting relaxation, mindfulness can improve sleep patterns and help ensure that the brain has enough time to rest and repair itself. Consistent, restorative sleep supports neurogenesis, brain detoxification, and memory consolidation, all of which are essential for maintaining cognitive function over time. Incorporating mindfulness into daily life, whether through meditation, yoga, or simple breathing exercises, can provide powerful benefits for brain health. By reducing stress, improving brain plasticity, enhancing emotional regulation, and promoting better sleep, mindfulness serves as an effective tool for protecting cognitive function and supporting long-term brain health.